before I get combined. You know, in farming, we don't just pivot in a day. You know, we make planting decisions, you know, months, if not a year ahead of time, and we pollinate a crop on the almonds that's going to come off in August. So it's not like we can do a whole lot about the fact that a virus pandemic is occurring. The worst part about what happened with the coronavirus back in March is that almost instantaneously, the restaurant trade literally shut down overnight. And what people don't really realize or recognize how much of our ag production goes through the restaurant trade, or the food service trade, as we'll call it. And that includes schools and everything else. I mean, when schools shut down, it's a lot of food that stopped. Half of the lamb consumed in this country goes through the restaurant trade. So if you're used to selling your lambs live at $2 a pound, and half of your supply now cannot go through its normal outlet, and now it's just sitting there, you're not able to harvest it, you're not able to sell it, what happens to prices? Prices are logically going to drop 50%, and they did.
So one of the greatest ironies when this COVID crisis just began was the fact that we saw grocery shelves empty, while on the farm supply side, we didn't have an issue. Supply chain shifted dramatically, going from particularly, restaurant side of things, where, just a few years ago, for the first time in American history, we saw more meals consumed outside of the home than inside of the home. To almost overnight, that flipped on its head. I mean, we went to a majority of Americans almost enjoying all of their meals at home. And so that supply chain took some time to catch up. Short term, it's just trying to get through the current harvest season, trying to figure out how to make it to the next harvest season. But long term, it all comes back to very much focused on the employees themselves, because without employees, none of this happens. I mean, the incredibleness of this industry is really dependent upon having the hands that help feed this nation and this world. And so we need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to ensure a healthy workforce as we go through this crisis. Here on the farm, there's a lot of practicality into being able to social distance and everything else. But when it comes particularly to the processing side, the packing side, doing what we can to find new innovative ways to separate people and make sure they do stay safe is definitely one of the highest priorities we're focused on.
So farmers and ranchers have to be optimists by nature. We're going to survive. It's going to take several years to get past the drop in commodity prices that has occurred because of this pandemic.
I think bright side that I took away from it, for just a glimmer there, people were paying attention to where their food came from. They had questions. They were trying to make that connection to farms and trying to understand a little bit more about the way that their food is grown.
And that's a very healthy thing. We want that. So part of the ag community's job is to be able to be a positive, accurate messenger about where their food comes from. As soon as this thing started, middle to end of March, not one night went by where we didn't sit down at the dinner table, have dinner together, and say a prayer as a family. I can't think of a better silver lining than that.